It's always progressing.
Yeah.
You never stop and go, okay, oh yeah, I won. I'm an artist. That's it. I'm done. I don't need to do it anymore. Because the more you do it, the more you realize, the less you know. So if it works, I'll throw anything at it. I love to, if it's going to work, I'll throw the kitchen sink at it to make it work. This-
I'm always amazed with artwork and how people can see how something fits in there, right? How you
yeah,
could see how those clippings would fit in there or make it necessary.
they're all puzzles. I mean, they're all maybe my paintings are puzzles. I back myself into the corner a lot of times. And then getting out is such an interesting process.
Thing that I wonder about is when I see a piece of artwork, and a lot of times they're on an easel or they're done in different areas, and seeing it the way the artist saw it when they created versus when it's put on display.
Sometimes when you do titles, uh, you label a piece, obviously.
Yeah.
And so people think that. I always like it when people do double takes in paintings
When
and
they
they'll say,
recognize something in
yeah,
there.
they don't recognize something, or they do recognize something
Yeah.
that they didn't see before. Jill Sukup was a instructor of mine, and she's into the buffalo, and I really love her work, and so I emulated her style. But again, it's all just a matter of taking away from other artists that you love. 1896 is when it was built, and it has just a lot of history because it used to service all of Camas and Oakley and Peoa and Woodland, and everybody came
Yeah.
from all over to this store. This was the only store.
Because during that time there was not a lot up here, right?
There was very few. It was a Mormon settlement,
Okay.
and there was the church and the grocery store and the school, and that was primarily it. So again, there's just a lot of history, and there's a lot of good energy in this building. And it's not because of me, but it's because of history.
Yeah.
It's because of the
Well, it's
hundred.
still standing.
Yeah, and it's still standing. I wanted to put it on the National Historic Register, but there were some things that they didn't like about the windows. The windows weren't, the original windows, and
Okay.
but this is my wall of fame. This is where I show off my desk, obviously, and then a lot of my artwork is just a lot of different variations of themes,
Okay.
a lot of different variations of themes and compositions and colors, and I don't like to do a lot of things twice.
Well, how long have you been actively doing art for?
Oh, since grade school and high school, I majored in fine arts in English in the University of Wisconsin, and I taught. I
Oh,
taught for a
really?
number of years. I taught for about 5 years,
Where
four
at
years.
Wisconsin?
In Wisconsin, a little town called Osseo Fairchild in northern Wisconsin,
Okay.
and then did a stint in Australia for a while teaching there.
Really?
Yeah, and then from Australia, I came right to Park City in '73, somewhere in that time
What
frame.
drew you out to Australia?
Well, there were a number of things. There was the Vietnam War.
Okay.
And there was they were looking for teachers at the time, so it was a good opportunity for me.
Yeah.
And because they paid your settling in allowance, they gave you a place to live, and you had a choice of where to teach, and so it was a pretty inviting offer, and so I wanted to take it.
How has your art changed, like from that period when you were a teacher versus now? Is it
Well,
just,
it's always progressing.
yeah.
You never stop and go, okay, oh yeah, I won. I'm an artist. That's it. I'm done. I don't need to do it anymore. Because the more you do it, the more you realize, the less you know about art.
Yeah.
And so, especially technique, and I love reading about art. Love reading about artists, different works, different techniques.
I found that in my life too, is that when I feel as if I become proficient and I know something, and then I get to a point where I realize that there's so much that I don't know about it,
Yeah,
and then I continue to kind of dive deeper.
right, exactly. And I'm always looking at my watch because you only have a certain amount of time on this earth, and you go, my God, I still don't know. So I'm craving for this knowledge more and more as I get older. So,
Like, what's
and,
something you're pursuing right now?
um, pretty much different techniques,
Okay.
in my painting, and incorporating older techniques.
Okay.
So the new with the old, you always keep the old on deck.
So, like, bringing them back or combining the two? Or?
Combining the two, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I always build upon them. I always build upon them, and I always leave a little bit of my own technique and style
Yeah.
in my paintings, in all my paintings, from day one.
Well, walk us through some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have going on most recently?
Um, this is a circus series that I did. This is Bob Burridge. He was one of my instructors, and he was into the circus, and this was part of his circus series. And I took it and ran with the circus series and did a number of pieces, as exercises with Bob Burridge.
So I see you have some cutout in there, right?
Yeah, I
And
do
some
a lot of
pieces.
collage. Collage is one of my favorite elements. I like to mix my mediums. And so the collage I always like it when people do double takes in paintings.
When
And
they
they'll say,
recognize something in
yeah,
there.
they don't recognize something, or they do recognize something
Yeah.
that they didn't see before. Like this is very abstract. People see a lot of different things in here. But this is a spring scene, first snow out in the country, actually up around Oakley. Um, this particular painting is the natives, and this is collage up here also. These are old comic books,
Oh yeah, I see that all through here.
1950s Western comic books. And so I like to, and people don't notice that, they'll think it's paint, but they'll see it after a while. And those are the interesting things for me when people see those things, because I go, yeah, okay, great. Now it's, interesting to them.
So did the comic books inspire the painting, or did the
No,
painting need the comic book?
yeah, the painting needed the comic books. That was the last thing. And uh, this is a fun piece. This is an outdoor piece with deer looking in this particular person's window, and that's what they saw during the twilight time. In the corner of the house, that's a sliding door. It was just a fun composition. This is also a collage, and it's fairly abstract,
Yeah.
And I do different things. I do dress patterns and lots of different things that I find, musical notes.
Are
And
these stickers? What's this? Paradise?
yeah, that's from an old,
Rainier National Park?
right. Yeah, just something that dictated color and form, and I use that a lot, color and form. That's obvious. These are obvious things you need to be aware of in a painting. So if it works, I'll throw anything at it. I love to, if it's going to work, I'll throw the kitchen sink at it to make it work.
I'm always amazed with artwork and how people can see how something fits in there, right?
Yeah,
You could see how those clippings would fit in there or make it necessary.
they're all puzzles. I mean, they're all maybe my paintings are puzzles. I back myself into the corner a lot of times. And then getting out is such an interesting process. And then you always hope for those happy accidents, they're called,
Okay.
where you see something that you didn't and you thought it might not work, but it was an accident, and God, yeah, it made it. It really made the thing. I do a lot of cranes this time of year because that's where they are right now. They're here. And actually, they came at the end of February. That's how early it was.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen them. I've definitely seen them. It's hard. They're hard not to, or they're hard to miss.
And not to hear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you hear them before you see them.
Huh.
Yeah, they're out there. Wisconsin cows. And that was actually from an old Pink Floyd album.
Okay.
And that was the insert. It was called Adam Heartmother was the name of the album. And I have fun working with different elements in there too, like the barn and the sky.
They look to me like they just left the beauty salon.
Right? Pomp and circumstance.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, these paintings, this particular piece, this is my book collection, obviously, but this particular piece again has that element, the comic book element
Okay.
in the clothing. It's a little more formulated, not as loose as the other one. Then I work with a lot of light source, like these paintings, these particular paintings. These backlighting, this forest light and greenhouse effect, it's called.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I love this atrium look.
yeah, the atrium look, it just shows a lot of light coming in from the top. And light is very key, obviously, for all your paintings, all my paintings. This is collage, birds on the wire. And it shows just a different element that you can play with and visually.
Yeah, each one's so unique too.
Yeah. And I like the shadows in back, little shadows. Natives again. Yeah, I love to do the natives because they're colorful. They're so colorful. I love the movement.
What'd you use as a reference for that piece?
That was strictly imagination, that particular piece. The horses, I had some photos,
Okay.
but they don't look like anything like the photos. You know, a lot of this was a photo from Yellowstone. Um, and Jill Sukup was a instructor of mine, and she's into the buffalo, and I really love her work, and so I emulated her style. And but again, it's all just a matter of taking away from other artists that you love and make it your own. You want to make it your own.
With her style, like the impression I get from this buffalo is like wisdom, right? I
Yeah,
mean, not even just the part of the beard plays into it, but like the way the eyes are set.
yeah, exactly. He's the big bull. He's definitely the guy. But I like the color in his beard.
Yeah.
I like that element because the whole thing is red, and I wanted to bring in some purples and red, deep reds, and it seemed to have worked. But again, my paintings are very loose.
Where you're having fun with it, right?
Yeah, because you really want to have fun with it, like the wave. You want to have fun with that, and that was done with a big trowel, the white coming in and just with a big to get that highlight. So I use different techniques, and as a result, you get some patterns in there, and you get some texture as well. This is a Moab scene.
Can see that.
Yeah. And this is a combination of Jamie Wyeth and Jackson Pollock. And Jamie Wyeth did a lot of sheep, and I always loved his work and his dad's work. And of course, Jackson, he was always a hero of mine. And it's the looseness. I like to get loose. I stood on a ladder and dribbled all over that. Once the sheep was done, and I went, it needs something. So that's the scary part, where you go, all right, I'm going to mess it up.
How's it going to turn out?
Yeah. I'm
So
going to
you
mess
had
up this painting.
done all the base, you had done the sheep, and then you looked at that and said, okay,
Did the whole painting, and then I said, yeah,
yeah.
shall I do it or not? And then, yeah.
When you drizzled that on, how'd you have it located? Was it on a desk or was it on the floor or what'd you do?
It was on that table.
Okay.
On the table, and I get up on the ladder. And,
Well, because it's always interesting to me too to see. Thing that I wonder about is when I see a piece of artwork, and a lot of times they're on an easel or they're done in different areas, and seeing it the way the artist saw it when they created versus when it's put on display.
Right.
Right, it's totally different. The lighting's different, the location's different, and something like this, I was wondering, like, were you over it or?
Yeah, directly over it, doing this with a spoon into the paint, and then let it come off the spoon. And so it's just a different technique again to make it interesting.
Yeah. It's actually one of the pieces when I walk in here that stands out to me the most.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because all that texture and color that comes out of it.
People talk about that one the most. So really, because it is an interesting and different piece. Um, yeah, I do my clouds and my irises, and I work with a lot of light. This area back here is this is the old refrigerator when you walk in here, and I just wanted my small pieces in here.
So this was the actual refrigerator from the
Yeah,
store when it was like a general goods store.
right. And the tin up here on the ceiling is original, and so I left that because I wanted obviously
It has
people
a
to
cool
see
look
that.
to it.
Yeah, it's a great it's a great little area. It was just dark in there, and they had artwork in there, but it just didn't show well. So I thought this would be great for smaller pieces. And I do these at home, while my wife cooks, and she's a wonderful cook, but she won't let me in the kitchen, so I stay right there on the dining room table and I knock out these things. That's
These are
our
some of my
area.
favorites of what I what you've shown me. Like
Yeah,
especially like I like the fish, and I think earlier you had some birds in here. You've
yeah,
brought some new pieces in the time since I
I
was here
have,
last.
I have. Yeah, it's just a myriad of different themes, and
Well, to me, it's like I'm looking at your notebook.
yeah, yeah. And I take these and I'll go and I'll do bigger paintings from them.
Right.
I'll incorporate them into a larger size. Acrylics, pastels, and a lot of collage. Here's another collage with the horses, and these are all dress. These are all dress patterns.
You definitely didn't have this one up last time I was here.
No, I was thinking it was being framed, and it's called dressage.
What is the title?
Dressage.
Dressage?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's a
And the dress patterns themselves, do they have any uniqueness to them or any story behind it, or just something you
none at
found?
all. But I wanted to I wanted to show the cheekbones, and so I kind of left these patterns to accentuate what I wanted the people to see. Like this area, boom, and this area, boom, and the mane. But no, they don't mean anything. But I like the numbers in there because it's such a contrast.
Yeah. I know it's weird. It's weird to see the nature, like kind of the horse and the natural environment contrasted with like the commercial look of having stamp
Right.
print on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a conversation piece again.
Yeah.
Where you can say, "Hey, yeah, all right, I love horses, but this is a conversation piece, and it's a fun piece."
Yeah.
This is a little encaustic work down here, which is wax. Um, the Egyptians did it. Encaustic goes all the way back to the Egyptians, where they did their murals on the wall and everything, and it lasts forever. But it's heating the wax and using different colors, and it's just a different technique
Is the color actually in the wax?
in the wax. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can color it yourself, and you can scrape it off with a razor blade and get different layering,
Different textures or
different
whatever.
textures. Yeah, like this piece. I mean, this is full texture right here. That's more of an assemblage with pottery pieces and uh, tissue and lots of.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of everything in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Some collage element.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's out of the ordinary, which I really like.
Well, after you do so many, because you also do a lot of commission work, or what?
Yes, I do a lot of commission work. And so, when I like to do things, I do for me. Like that pastel, that's an abstract. That was done for me.
Okay.
I mean, I just do my own shtick because I need to burst out and do things. I do things on my own. And for myself. Like this particular piece. That was fun. That's pastel. It's called Heart on a Sleeve.
Okay.
something that only I might see, but other people will see it too once you bring that up. But again, it's the composition and the color. And I start out with, the four C's. I start out with the concept, the composition, the color, and then the commitment. Got to commit.
It looks to me like a person chewing bubble gum.
Yeah, that was my next title.
Okay.
Person chewing bubblegum. This is a scene from around here. And, I did love working with red as well. And then my cranes, of course. And
What's your oldest piece that you have, like the currently in your studio, the piece that you created the longest time ago?
Man, I just don't know. Let me see. Probably this piece. And this is an old factory scene. And I don't know if I dated it or anything. It was probably about 4 years ago.
Okay.
But I pulled it out recently because I really liked the piece.
Okay.
And what I did was, I painted this and then I went over it with black in the areas that I wanted. And then I flipped it over and took my paintbrush and did the squiggles and stuff because the black was still wet.
Okay.
But I had all my underpainting, right?
Okay. So you just pulled that off?
So you pull it, yeah.
Yeah, I think the first
just
time
bring it through.
I walked through and you'd show me this painting, like, this just looks so industrial. And this message of, like, the value, the color being here, and then just parts of it being dispersed through here.
Right.
Gives me this feel like it's almost like taking the energy and then like consuming it and then just releasing like what's left over.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's almost like an environmental piece to me for some reason.
It has a lot of energy in it. It's an industrial town. I mean, that was the image, with the stack here and the houses down in here and your fields and.
Okay.
But it's obviously very abstract, which is one of the reasons I really like it.
So that's probably your favorite for yourself. What do you find yourself most often drawing yourself to, or what art?
What type of style?
Yeah.
I really enjoy this type of work with the collage. But then, as soon as I said that, I looked over here, and my abstract is what I really enjoy too, because it's my puzzles where I do paint myself into a corner, and then I truly try to get out of it. And I don't have a title for that one because you don't have, sometimes when you do titles, you label a piece, obviously.
Yeah.
And so people think that. If you were to say, open field on a hot sunny day, or anyway, people will conjure that and they won't let their imagination run and find something different in that painting.
Like before you mentioned the title, I was looking at it and I'm seeing this as like a bedroom, and then like
a floor plan.
Yeah, floor plan into a front yard area or something with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Again, once you label paintings, other than something that's obvious like dressage, which is a fun title for that piece, it's
with the details that you have in all this, it reminds me of like a World War II kind of plane, like or like military kind of industrial, but almost like it gives me that vibe of seeing a plane, because you see those planes and the pinup girl artwork and the stuff they put on there, and the curvature and what they try to accentuate or bring some personality to it, and then in contrast to just like sprayed on white numbers or the
right.
And so that it gives me that kind of feeling.
See, that's interesting. It's interesting. I always like dress patterns because they have so much in them. Straight lines, numbers, curved lines. I mean, I can't imagine cutting anything out and making a dress. Though, I mean, right? Have you done that, Emily?
That's Emily's background.
Well, so I mean, God, it's a puzzle. I mean, it's an incredibly tough puzzle.
She literally made wedding dresses.
Oh, man. Oh, hon. Gee.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then if you didn't nail it, You can't. I bet did they say yes to the dress all the time?
It's hard. Sometimes no.